Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode 583. I am Cold Coffee, and I am not joined by John Morgan. He's off Liberty Hill out there in Philadelphia, trying to do some things, acting like he's a bigwig out there on the commentary. In fact, some of you that are listening to this might have just got done watching him, but instead I went out and I said, where can I find a heavy hitter, somebody to fill in and just be even bigger and better than J-Mo? And I went out and I found the Goze, Brian Garcia of MMA Junkie Radio. How you doing, buddy?
Give me an intro like that, and I might have to fill in for John more often. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really, really well. I appreciate you hopping on here. And for everybody that's listening to this, you're like, man, you waited so long in the week and you still didn't give me J-Mo. Well, we tried. In fact, he's been doing everything with this big event that's going out there at the, let me make sure I get it right, Union League Liberty Hill. In fact, I got it on the TV behind where I'm recording here. And he's on there right now with Josh Thompson. Dude, he sent me a thing earlier when he was like, or maybe it was yesterday or whatever. He's like, man, I can't do it today. Can we push it to Sunday? And this was after we already pushed it back. And I was just like, oh no, here's another one where we're just going to be like scrambling. And I feel bad because, he's been running so crazy out there that Sunday would be hopefully his day off, so trying to give him the day off. So I scrambled and I was like, I wonder if I can get Goze on here. And you filled in before, I believe, when I've been, in the same sort of situation. You're becoming like a repeat fill-in guest.
I did it one time with Nolan.
Nolan, right?
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you stepping up, and that way we can get it to the folks in due time and before the event that's going to happen tonight, the UFC Macau, which is in a crazy time. And we'll keep it short and sweet. And most people could probably tell my voice is kind of messed up right now. I've been dealing with the wind's been crazy. Maybe it's allergies, maybe it's whatever. I feel fine, but my voice has been cracking and it's been just acting up. So I'm just going to we're going to try to push through this and give you as much time as possibly to talk and use your voice so I don't have to worry about my voice. But I did see how you were at the dentist. So not only is your voice sounding good, but your teeth are sounding amazing. That's always nice. I'm glad you're doing the things you got to do, as an adult to get your teeth cleaned.
Oh, yeah. I went to dental school for 3 years. So
Did you really? I don't think I knew that. Or maybe I did and I just forgot. How did you go from dental school to MMA Junkie Radio?
Well, and then to top it all off, my degree's in psychology. So I'm all over the place. But I wanted to be a dentist when I graduated from high school. And I was like, I don't want to go through all that school to find out I'm not going to like it. So I go, how can I work in it first and see what I like? So I became a dental assistant and I liked it for a while. And so then I went and I took an exam to be a registered dental assistant. So I could give injections and cleanings and stuff like that, polishing. And so then I did that for years, an x-ray technician. And then, what it came down to is I just didn't like to see kids in pain. I just didn't like it.
Oh yeah.
So
that's going to happen.
I left that. And then, that's when I started going to UNLV. And then that's when this show kind of just took over my life. And here I am doing this. But I've had, I'm 47 and I decided to finally get braces, Invisalign. So I've had these for almost 2 years. And I'm at the end where they kind of take off some of the nods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's like the last bit of track.
Yeah, man. Well, I applaud you on the discipline it takes for those Invisalign things, man. I hear it's quite the regime of having to, be good, take them in, take them out, don't eat certain things, don't drink certain things while you got them, you know. But, well, good for you. Well, no wonder your teeth look so good. Look at that.
Thank you. It's actually, you brought up Josh Thompson. Yeah. He's the one that talked me into it.
Is he really?
Ago. Yeah. So,
well, that would explain. He's got quite the smile as well. That's awesome. So so John and those folks, in fact, the production that they're putting on over there is really neat. Imagine being at a super fancy country club and then somebody gets the idea of, hey guys, why don't we put on a fight, to commemorate America, because that's what seemingly everybody's doing at places that don't normally have fights. I mean, they're like, hey, if the White House can do it, why can't we do it here at our fancy country club? But it's
Hmm.
kind of neat to see it. It's amazing, pretty background, like it's just so funny. Like being from where now we are in the desert, you don't get to see many rolling hills and the green grass and stuff of this golf course, which you could see, if you're watching the event, which is kind of neat. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting take about how everybody. So now I'm just wondering what else. Every country club now is going to try to one up everybody else. I'm like, what can we
Oh
do at
yeah,
our country club? If they
it's
could do it at the
hilarious.
White House and they could do this here.
I actually ran into John at the supermarket and we were talking about how funny years ago a lot of these cards were outdoors. Like a lot of WEC cards were outdoors.
Really?
And now they were fighting to get into arenas. Now they're fighting to do something crazy. Like we just had fights in front of the pyramids.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have them at the White House. Everybody's doing them outdoors, and people don't realize all the little subtle things that happen when you
Yep.
do outdoor cards. Like we hear Dana White complain about it, but there really is. Like I remember RFA did one over where the LA Galaxy play. And since it's so close to the beach, they didn't realize that the water from the beach, the condensation, would do
Oh,
something to
wow.
the mats, and
Yeah.
everybody was just slipping left and right, left, and they couldn't stop it. And then there's like WEC, they would do them in Arizona, and people would be burning their feet, so they'd be throwing like
Yep.
ice on the mats and just to cool them off. It's insanity sometimes, man.
Such crazy stuff that you don't normally have to think about, but you really have to think about. Yeah, and, you brought up the Nets, and that seems to be the buzzword, of everybody talking about all this stuff that they think could possibly be an issue at the White House card.
Yeah.
Dana said that they went out and they went to the Rose Garden and gnats were everywhere. And so now you have fighters that one, even depending on where they start. Now the White House card's going to start in the evening, so sun's not an issue. CFFC here at this event here started earlier in the day, so the sun was up early on. So you started seeing fighters that were turning, the fights,
Mhm.
as they're staying in the cage to try to get the position so the sun was behind them, so they weren't being blinded by the,
Oh
the,
man.
the sun. And there's all these little things you don't think about. But yeah, the whole bug thing is, I was watching, Nolan did an interview with Steve Garcia, and he
Hmm.
was talking about, if there's gnats and mosquitoes flying and bugging, and biting me and all other stuff, but my opponent's gonna have to deal with the same thing. We'll just have to do what we have to do. It's
Yeah.
like, kind of reminding. He's like, I guess it'd just be like if we were fighting outside. But granted, there's already enough pressure. There's already enough variables. The last thing you want to think about is what this bug is that a mosquito biting my ear as I'm trying to defend this choke or something? Like
What
all
is
kinds of
that?
weird little things that could pop up. Which is kind of crazy. But
And there's certain people that mosquitoes gravitate more to than the other.
yes,
So
I
like
think I think that
for
I
those
think
who
they
don't
do that to
know,
me now. I think they do that to me now.
yeah, it's something to do with your breath and your blood. And so George, my co-host on MMA Junkies, my brother, there was a little period of time where we would share rooms. And I remember one time we slept with the window open, and I woke up to probably about like 70 some mosquito bites, and he had like three. And so when I went to the doctor, I was like, that makes no sense. Like, why didn't he get chewed up? He's
Yeah,
like, yeah, they just go after certain people. So you imagine one dude just doing this all night, while the
yeah,
other dude chilling. It could get crazy. But Steve Garcia is right. Like, the other guy's got to deal with it too. And
yep,
this isn't a card where you feel like anybody's like, oh, I got to fight on the White House. You feel like anybody who's on this card wanted to be there.
yep.
And so, there are things that we definitely have to take into consideration. But at the end of the day, they're both going through it.
Yep, and I know that Dana said that they have plans. There's a plan B should it rain and lightning or whatever. I guess the rain it's okay. It's just if lightning happens that it kind of calls everything off. Can't have all
Hmm.
of our politicians and let alone fighters and everybody and all that electrical equipment sitting out there with a bunch of lightning strikes. That would be kind of crazy. But hopefully everything works out for that. But enough on that. But I do want to jump back. Since it's a little bit of a different show, and again we won't run too crazy long before we'll talk a little bit. We'll hop on about the UFC Macau card and all that stuff that's going to be going on at a crazy hour tonight. I think it starts at what 1 a.m. our time. Is that about
Yeah.
right for the
Our time.
prelims?
Hmm.
So 1 a.m. our time, 4 a.m. Eastern. Good for the folks elsewhere that could get it at a better time. I don't know. There's something kind of fun about us staying up late to watch these ones, these 1 a.m. ones. And I've done it before where I'll try to watch and then I'll go upstairs and I'll put it on the TV in the bedroom and then I'll try to watch it. And then I usually fall asleep for like a fight or two. And then I try to
Mhm.
wake up, make sure I'm awake for the main card. But yeah, there is something cool about knowing that the end of the night, we can kind of snuggle up and get ready to go to bed, but still watch fights into the wee hours. So it's gonna be kind of crazy
It reminds
getting
us
there.
of Pride. Some people that were around for Pride, right? We used to do that all the time and never complain. We couldn't
Yeah,
wait just till 12 midnight, and then the fights would start. You'd be all amped up, and you'd go to bed like at 4 a.m. and it was a great night.
yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Well, since it's a little special, we don't really have to jump too much on fights. I would love to give people always talk about our show. This is episode 583, consecutive weeks that we've done this show. You guys, in terms of episodes, have got like what 50,000 episodes or something crazy. Like how many episodes are you guys on now on Junkie Radio?
I want to say it's 3,672, I think.
Going back to
Right
when? When
around
was
there.
the first episode? Roughly around when was the first episode?
We just had our 19-year anniversary,
That's
April.
crazy.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's, technically when we started spinning Backclick, it was supposed to be the third Junkie Radio episode. So
Yep.
when I pitched it back then, it was like MMA Junkie Radio presents or something like that. So it was going to be the third one. We just forgot to like label it, and it never. But it was supposed to be the third show. So if you add those in, maybe I don't know, another 150 or something. But for the
Yeah.
most part, yeah, that's it.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I know you guys have had a ton of guests, and I imagine most people that are listening to this podcast have listened to you guys at some point along the line, have followed onto the show. Um, you've had so many guests along their careers. It's funny when I go back and look at when it used to be videotaped a lot of time in the studios over there at the Mandalay Bay,
Hmm.
which is a crazy thing too. That man, what a cool setup. I mean, however that got started. I remember I used to think that was so cool to go to the book, the sports book, to go in there and watch the episodes and stuff, thinking like, what are we doing in the sports book? Like this is all fancy.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of crazy. Uh, which I think was like one of the most unique and cool things. But over this time, when I go back and look at either videos and just look at the stuff that you guys have had, the guests that you have had covers the whole history of the sport for the most part. Guys that
Mhm.
before they've really ever been anything. But I mean, I know I'm going to put you on the spot and it's going to be tough, and I won't try to say rank them or anything like that. But give me like a few names that rank up there all time that you were just think you ever like sort of pinch yourself like, man, it was really cool we got this. Maybe even somebody before they got big and maybe somebody after that they were big. Do you have like a few favorites that you're just
Mhm.
like, I can't believe we got to do this, or how cool was it that we
Yeah.
got this before they were who they became?
Well, definitely Conor McGregor pops out because we used to interview him when he was with Cage Warriors. He was still a plumber. So we would be on the phone with him and he'd be like, "All right, I got a job. I'm going to be out in like 20 minutes. I can do the interview." And then he would just come on and say the most ridiculous things ever. He would make us laugh. And so we would just kind of like every time we'd be like, "All right, let's book him again." He's like really funny. And then one day I remember he said he was fighting for a belt at Cage Warriors. And he goes, "Okay, boys, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to fight for this belt. Then I'm going to go up and wait and fight for another belt. I'm going to win a second belt. Then I'm going to go to the UFC and I'm going to win another belt over there. And then I'm going to come to your studio and we're all going to have beers and laugh about this." And me and George are just kind of cracking up, like, "Take it easy, guy. Like you got to win
Yeah.
your first Cage Warriors belt." But sure enough, years later, he did all that. He came back to the studio with Fox and he brought the beers and we all had the beers. So that was probably like one of the most memorable ones. Ronda Rousey,
That's
when she
pretty
first
cool though.
started
That
with,
that ranks up there. That's pretty
yeah,
darn cool. That's pretty darn cool. All
I
right,
have a
Ronda
picture
Rousey.
too. I'll send that to
Oh
you. I
yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
picture
That'd be
right
that'd
there.
be awesome.
And then Ronda Rousey, when she was doing Tough Enough, her first fight, that was fun because she was telling a lot of like personal stories and just really chill and relaxed person. But for me, what stood out the most, I gave you those because I know that's what like the MMA fans want to hear. But because this has become a job, normally when it comes to MMA stuff, I don't get too nervous when I'm around people,
Sure.
but it's the people outside of MMA that scare me to death. And so whenever we've had like boxers that I grew up watching or professional wrestlers, I'm a mess. And so my favorite ones were Roddy Piper. He was in the studio for 3.5 hours when he was only supposed to be there for 30 minutes.
That's awesome.
And then and he got into character and everything. That's probably my favorite of all time. And the most nervous I've ever been was Roy Jones Jr. When he was in studio. Like people I grew up watching, those really hit me hard. But
Yeah.
it's a little mixture of everything, I guess. There.
That's pretty cool. I will still remember a time that I was there and I took a picture and I remember it floats around my phone and Facebook or maybe Instagram or something reminds me every once in a while of one day I was there helping shoot and film and Edward James almost was there
Oh yeah.
and Stitch was there and everybody's always said about how they looked like each other and how they were like clones or whatever, but to have them side by side and take a picture and I thought Edward was like super polite and he was super into it and
Uh-huh.
he was just nice as all get out. And Stitch, I love. I mean, Stitch has been around the scene. He's worked with us in different capacities over the years so many times. He's such a good dude. But I just remember thinking, like, this is probably one of the most unique, cool things that I never thought I would ever get to happen, with
Yeah.
those two getting getting in there.
Edward James almost was filming a movie where the main character, uh, when he gets to his big fight, was actually gonna actually have a fight. It was being recorded at RAF or RFA, and now I confuse them. So whatever happens in real life was going to be transferred over into the movie, and so that's why he was on the show. And when he was on the show, me and George were like, "Wouldn't it be funny to bring Stitch in? Like, just see them kind of interact." And so we brought him in, and they had their moment where they were like looking at each other, like, "Man, this is weird, huh? Yeah, this is totally weird." But yeah, that fight, unfortunately, the main character lost, and it was very quick. It was like a minute and a half or something. But that was part of the movie that they made. It was kind of unique to have a movie that way that actually ended in a real fight.
Yeah, that's so neat. Yeah, I'm telling you. But yeah, if people haven't, I mean, I know everybody that's listening to this has listened to your guys' stuff, but even going back, I think it's a great listen to listen to you guys. You guys have such a history with fighters. Fighters coming up, and that's always been one of the key things that me and Morgan always talk about is that you know, never shying away from speaking or talking to some of these, fighters that haven't got there, are still
Yeah.
trying to get to their way because you never know what they're going to become, like point
Hmm.
proven, like we were talking about Conor before he ever won his Cage Warriors belt when he was just the plumber. I'm sure a lot of people weren't clamoring to talk to the guy, and look at him
Yeah.
now. You can't, you have a hard time sitting him down and getting him to even agree to an interview now. But you
Hmm.
guys have done that, exponentially so many times, but I definitely, if people haven't by chance listen to them, you got to make sure you go out and check out MMA Junkie Radio.
I
Georgia
appreciate that.
Goze do a really fun stuff. And again, spinning back click. You could always see on Mondays.
Yeah.
You always see the dynamic duo there, joined with other MMA staff, MMA junkie staff on there, talking about all the different little things and stuff. But
Do you know what Stitch's name was that day
no,
when Edward James Olmos was in studio? We were calling him Edward James Almost.
that's right.
That was his nickname.
That's hilarious. Oh, I see the picture that you sent over on
That's
WhatsApp.
Connor.
Oh my goodness gracious! Look at Connor. He looked young as all get out, but he already had a camera guy with him.
Yeah, they
Who's the
came
camera
from
guy in the
Fox.
background?
I don't know. I
He
don't
must
know. It
have
was a
already
crew
had a
from
camera
Fox
dude
that
following.
came
But
to.
yeah, look at the stuff in the background. Pretty cool
Hmm.
pictures in the background. Wow, that space changed quite a bit from what it was. I remember even I got to see it. It sort of changed around before you guys put the cage backdrop into it and some of the other stuff. But look at that. That is pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. So, did you get a chance? I mean, we can briefly go over the Macau card before we talk about Macau. Is there anything else going on you wanna chat about? Anything going on in the junkie radio life, or anything going on with you that's stand out that you want to give a little? I'll give you a little self promotion before we talk fight stuff. Anything else going on?
Uh, I'm still kind of like taking in a little bit of the MVP stuff, with Ronda Rousey
Yep.
and Holly Holm. I'm a little kind of shocked that Ronda wouldn't want that Holly Holm fight.
Really?
just because it
Outside of
seems.
just
I
the
mean,
money, outside of just the money. I mean,
right,
do you
the
think
money
that there's
part
any real do you think she has a competitive chance in that?
a little bit, but not very much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Once you get to a certain age, kind of like what happened to her, skills just start to deteriorate a little bit. When you're not
Yeah.
in the UFC, you're
Yep.
not training as constant. I think maybe if she did something where she knew she was going to take the fight and train nonstop and then told Holly, I'll take it, and had a little bit of a head start on her, the fight's in a month and a half or
Yeah.
something, maybe she
Well,
could catch her.
yeah,
But
in a month and a half, though, I mean, like Holly could still get
yeah,
back into shape. Like the difference with, in my opinion, like with like Gina versus Holly, Gina never had that ground game, and as much as she
hmm
was trying to just get the weight down, um, she didn't have a chance to even try to drill that. She was trying to work on the fitness and other stuff, and then never. It didn't seem like her game had changed since back then. She was expecting to see a striking bout, and that wasn't it. The thing with Holly, there was Holly striking. I mean, heck, she's got a boxing match. What this coming up like in the next like couple of
yeah,
weeks or so, or something like that.
hmm
So she's working on striking, and she had ground defense. We saw that the last time when they were both actually actively fighting. I think that she could come back into it. I just don't think Ronda. I don't. I mean, outside of needing a paycheck, I think her paycheck was pretty darn good for this, as she's disclosed. Even the money that was paid out or was disclosed in the commission payouts didn't count for any of the undisclosed stuff. The
right.
promotional fees, all the other sort of things. I mean, even with the 2 million, you could do pretty good, but I don't think with the 2 million she was going to be rushing off to Hawaii to do house shopping, like she said her and her
Why is
husband were going to do.
expensive?
So yeah, so I think that she's doing pretty good. So to come back for another paycheck just to potentially take a loss, which I think is I mean, there's always a possibility that she could win, but I feel like it's a
Mhm.
certainty. Like you want to come back and
Not
take
on the
that money
feet.
just to take a loss. Um,
Yeah.
and I think she is focused. I mean, I think even with her talking about trying to have kids, wants to raise the kids, and has all of her hands full with all the stuff that they're already trying to do, let alone was trying to say, hey, I can still help out MVP, run your MVP side, and then to try to then come back and train. I just think she's got too many irons in the fire of what's, I think, more important, and she doesn't need the money. And I think if it was more of a potential that she could win the fight, I think maybe there's the potential, but I don't think she has any desire to come back and revisit any potential to have that same type of loss that makes
Mhm.
that gets reused in videos over and over. And when she used to get so pissed off and thought we all
Oh
turned on her
yeah.
because we were showing the highlights, like, how dare you show that, and it's just like, if that happened again, I don't think she wants to set up that potential, but the money could be there. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know if we know it's a tougher fight, but is Holly Holm going to sell more tickets than Gina Carano did?
I don't think so. I think
I don't think so
but
either.
I don't even really know that many people showed up for Gina. I think they were all showing up for
For Holly,
for Rhonda, but
or yeah,
but
sorry, for Ronda.
you
Right,
know the
but at
thing
least
is
you
like
have to have somebody. You have to have somebody there to make it make
mhm.
sense. Like you have to make it better.
I think
Like
if they
if
could
you tried
triple
selling
of
like,
it.
oh hey, I'm gonna come back and fight. I'm gonna see if I can make it even quicker than the whatever it was, 17 seconds,
Mhm.
27 seconds. I forget how many seconds it was. Felt like 3 seconds. It was like, oh
Yeah.
wow. I remember we were like, oh, is she gonna kind of carry it? Is she gonna carry it a little bit? Are we gonna see the second round? I was like, come on, Rhonda, push it. Be an
hmm
actress. Carry this a little bit. And she was like, no, I have no desire to do anything except charge in there, take her down, get my money, go make some babies, and go house shopping in Hawaii.
Yeah. Today I was just thinking about how much I can't remember a time period other than when maybe we go back to Strike Force and Pride where so many fighters outside of the UFC make headlines with just like you see Dustin Poirier and now he's saying he's open to possibly fighting Connor again and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, guys, just stay retired, man. Like I
Yeah.
don't
Well, I mean,
even
I
if you
think it
do
was one
feel like
thing
you could do
with at
it.
least Dustin. I feel like Dustin, if he thought that the potential of Connor fighting, I think most people just thought Connor was never coming back.
Mhm.
And like he knows that's a big payday and he knows the potential to get it. But I think he just probably said, I'm done trying to wait or think of things that's never going to happen, you know. But once he saw Connor sign sign the line, the dotted line to fight Max, he's like, oh shit, maybe I can talk him into one more. I can get one more. I can get one more, and that would be a fun fight. That one I don't care. That one I'm like, cool. You know, I'm cool to see, Max and Connor fight. I think that's going to be a fun one. It's always cool to see Max fight. It's always cool to see Connor actually come back and fight. You know, I mean, we've seen a lot of like lead up to things that don't come, and I think it's hard to sign. You know, kind of be like, it's going to happen. We're going to believe and really. But this one I actually kind of feel like we're not far out. I think it's going to actually happen. You know, he seems into it. You know, he seems into it, and I think it'd be fun. But if Connor, gets the bug and says, "Hey, I want to do some more," I mean, why not go back and beat the dude that beat you twice? You know, like you kind of got to.
Well, I'll give you one. I'll give you one. Why not? And this is just me, maybe the human in me. If I take all the fighting out of me, I remember what him and his wife had to go through in that last camp, and just the things Connor says, and man, I think it's gotta hurt a little bit. You know, his wife just having to explain things to people like, "Hey, this is the fight game," and man, to put your family through that again, you've already beat the guy twice. But like you said, it's a big paycheck. If they had the understanding that, look, this is just kind of how our life is, we're gonna get through this, then I'd say go for it. But if that weighed in on her at all, the family at all, I'd say, man, don't.
You don't think that he would have thought about that before ever saying anything? You think if it was that done of a deal that he wouldn't have even said anything? I feel like for him to even say it, I have a feeling that he was probably like, honey, what do you think? What do you think? Should I say something? Should I say something? I feel like they're close enough and they're cool enough that he'd be like, because one, she's been through it. What can you do now that hasn't already been done? You know, because she went through it. She'd be like, all right, I know what to expect. I know how whatever it's going to be. My daughter's older. I'm older. You know, she's got thick skin. And she also knows that's a huge freaking payday. She's probably like, babe, whatever. Go for it. Knock his ass out.
Connor's running out of things to say, too. Like, you can't really say
yeah, I mean, you can only revisit the same stuff over and over. But I have a feeling that... and I could be completely 100% wrong. I have a feeling that Dustin, he's so close with his wife, I would almost feel like he was like, babe, can I say something? Can I say something? And she was probably like, go for it. I could be absolutely wrong, but I have a feeling that he probably cleared things with her before he ever even started talking because you're right. It was crazy, and nobody likes to see, the shit talking, bring in the family, somebody's all the things that we say you shouldn't be talking about, religion, their family, all that kind of stuff. But definitely the spouses and all that stuff, they got nothing to do with it. But, unfortunately, sometimes it does. But no, I mean, I think the fact that he mentioned it, I have a feeling that he would definitely be into that money because, I mean, that's some payday. I mean, at least $1 million, $2 million. Who knows what's disclosed, undisclosed type things. I mean, I'm sure it'd be another big payday. And, I mean, if he could beat him a third time, he'd just be like, Connor, I got your number. Just keep your mouth shut from here on out. Like, I got your number. Like, one, to have two, where they both had one, they both won one. Then he had the ticket to get the extra one, but to just get another one, then it'd just be like, now just shut your mouth. I think he would want that. I think he would want that so big. And if Connor won, then let's go again.
You gotta do a fifth one, right?
I mean, the thing is, they're always fun. They're fun fights. It's not like we're like, oh man, they just lay it on the ground there and we're humping each other. Like, they're fun fights. I mean, as long as they stay fun and doesn't get injured, like nobody wants to see anybody break something. That was kind of depressing, but at the same time, it was broke by the opponent. It wasn't like he came in with a already fractured, leg or whatever. Like. But that's a vicious, thing to come back from, like
true.
We've seen it happen before, guys have come back from it and did some good things. So, but yeah, I'm here for it. I think it would be fun to kind of see it and do us. I like you shared the picture of the the Edward James almost with the Edward James almost. Who was the woman that's there with them? Was she another actress in the movie?
One of the actresses in the movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. I couldn't remember what, but I figured she was probably an actress.
Hmm.
That's funny. All right, well, let's hop over. I don't want to keep you too long. Let's talk over about this Fight Night Macau song versus Figueiredo.
Okay.
I know we did our staff picks already, and I can't remember where you were leaning, but give me your thoughts on that main event.
Well, if you think you're gonna get me to say I'm leaning on your dong, I'm not gonna say that.
Talk about Yadong for me, would you?
You know what?
Is he a
It's a
big
tricky
favorite,
one.
or is he a plump favorite? Is he a thick
Yeah,
favorite?
we gotta weigh him first and make sure. But Figgy, he's kind of hard to get a handle on, but you could tell there's just been a little bit of a deterioration in his
Yeah,
game. And Song is I feel like he's still maybe hasn't hit his peak yet. I think he's right around that point, and I think he should be good in this fight. I think it'll be fun while it lasts, but I think he'll get the victory in this one.
yeah, I'm leaning with Yadong. If I had to put money on anything, I'm gonna play with Yadong.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good one. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think when Figueredo went back to the 35, I mean, I think it was a nice little splash, and was definitely doing some good things. A big, strong dude. But yeah, now you're running into these younger guys, and what Figgy is 38, Yadong is
That's true.
28, 10-year difference. And I mean, granted, bantamweights can kind of run around. They got they're it's not like they're I don't know. They just last. They're well off. It's not like you're getting old and these bodies aren't able to maintain. That these lighter weights have always been very physical and been very fit. So I mean, he's still a very fit athlete. But yeah, I mean, there is a difference that the age starts to add up and all those fights start to add
Hmm.
up, and it's just not quite the
Weight
same.
cut.
He does have power early on, quite a bit, but Yadong, I mean, he can take a beating.
Yeah.
Just had to leave.
So they
I
say.
just had to leave that there. He could take a beating, and he just keeps coming up, just keeps getting up, and rising to the occasion. We could go on all night long about that, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
So both of us went with Yadong on that one, which I'm not surprised, but you never know. I mean, like Figgy has a good chance. He has a puncher's chance. He really, really
Yeah.
does. But yeah, I'm leaning Yadong. Where'd you
Mhm.
go in the co-main? I think I might be the only person on our staff that went with Alonzo. I think everybody went with Min Yang. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, I did go
Actually,
Min
maybe
Yang.
maybe Danny
I think it's
went
the other way
Alonzo.
around though. I thought some people picked Minifield,
Really?
and I was a little
I thought
surprised by
me and
that.
maybe Danny were like the only ones, but I wasn't paying too many attention. But when I was looking at a lot of the ones that came, but after everybody was kind of
Mhm.
going the other, I was like, all right, maybe I'm crazy. I thought Alonzo put on a really good performance recently, and so I'm just kind of leaning in that. I mean, granted, he lost to Vulcan, but Vulcan was kind of on a
Mhm.
that was kind of a I don't know. Vulcan just does some Vulcan shit every once in a while and pulls out wins that I don't think he should win, but. And that was another one,
Right.
but I think Minifield has the athleticism. I think he has speed, but Zhang is huge. He's a big boy.
Yeah. He's really upright. He hits really hard. He has changed some things up in his camp. Minifield for me is difficult. I feel like every time I pick him, he loses. This is when we
Did
do
you
our
pick him?
staff picks. I don't know. I didn't. I ended up going Min
Okay,
Yang,
good
but
because I picked
I
him, so
had
I
Minifield
don't want you to
first.
give him that loss because I'm hoping he gets. I
I
got a
know,
big.
right?
We got a huge deficit to catch up to Danny. Danny's crushing it
Oh
this
no.
this time. He might get his first. He might get his first title cup. As the four-time reigning two-time in a row champ. I have a feeling that it was funny. I was going to joke and say that, oh, I'm taking this year off. I didn't take the year off. I just am sucking so hard this year. I always start off a
Mhm.
little bit rough, but yeah, I think it's a pretty big deficit. I think I'm down like 12 to him. I don't. It's gonna be tough to try to catch up.
I
Um,
wonder what he's changing about his
he's
tactics or
picking
what, but
after
yeah, he's been
everybody
on
else. He's
fire.
playing the game. I see him picking late.
Yeah.
He's coming to look at the
Okay.
winners. He's coming to gauge and see. He looks to see. He's like, well, all right, well, where's Kenny at? Where's Nolan at? Where's George at? Where's Goze? Okay, blah blah blah. No, who knows? Maybe he's him and his AI picker have done really well or something. You can't pick AI. AI does not a good job sometimes.
Nah, not at
Um,
all.
but yeah, but
I don't
good
know,
on
man.
him. I mean, it is kind of cool that because he hasn't won, right? He
I don't
hasn't.
think so.
So it'd be kind of cool that they're still not another double champ. So I'm always like, kind of like, all right, a new person can get it. Go for it. I was like,
Yeah.
just none of the. I want
But
to only
even
be
if
the
we
only
hit
double.
double champ, we're still not gonna catch. Like we're not even close to catching you.
Yeah, it's so funny when I was like, all right, first 2-time champ, and I was like, oh shit, first 3-time, first 4-time, and then well, with the last one, the 4-time, that was the first back to back because I almost got that back to back before, but then we did that weird year where we when Simon Head was still around and Simon Head took it where we didn't do like allowed like less than a full year or something. I forget what the
Hmm.
reasoning was or why, but he robbed me of my back to back that year. But
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
came in
bitter.
like later
I'm
in the
not
year or
bitter.
some.
I could be a 5-time champ. I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
Um, all right. But again, I mean, it's a good card. I mean, we probably are there any other? I don't want to. We don't really have to go down the line, but I mean, there any other fights that are kind of standing out for you on this card that you think give it like a sleeper fight? Obviously, the
Uh,
Pavlovich and the Teixeira fight's going to be good. Kai Asakura
be a
versus Cameron
banger.
Smotherman. Man, I have a hard time now separating Cameron Smotherman from his like face plant at weigh-in.
Yes.
Like every time I see him, I'm like, oh shit, Smotherman. This is the guy that smothered his face on the deck of that stage, and it was so scary because he was so close to the edge that I
Hmm.
was afraid that everybody was thinking like, man, if he was able to make it a few more feet, he could have flipped off the edge of the stage, and it was like a good 5 foot drop to the ground. I
Hmm.
remember it was so crazy and scary, but I can't. I have a hard time separating that image from my head every time I see his name. But yeah, I don't know. That was. Here I am I got completely sidetracked thinking of that image again, but that's going to be a
No.
fun one. Are there any other like sleeper car or sleeper fights on this that you're really excited about, or did I already just kind of
Well,
hose over one of them?
that was one of them, and it was for a couple of one reason was that
Yep.
we're all human, and regardless of, there are times where you go to the doctor and they go, "We know exactly what's wrong with you.
Yep.
Here's what happened. There's how we fix it." You still have nerves, and I have to imagine him going through that. Maybe going all the way to China is not the best place to kind of have your second go at this. I thought maybe they would try and help him out a little bit. But Kaya Sakura is a guy that, the UFC has been high on. It didn't
Yep.
really work out the first time. So when he's on, he is a menace.
Yes.
When he has his bad night, he can be caught, but I don't know that Cameron Smotherman has what it takes to catch him. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I think it's going to be short, but I think Asakura is going to put on a show.
Yep. I leaned with him as well. It's good to see Jake Matthews. He's got a tough opponent, Carlston Harrison.
Mhm.
Carlston Harris. I did lean Matthews on that one. Jake's been around for a while, man. It's so crazy. I feel like we've
Yeah.
been watching this kid since he must have been straight out of puberty. We've been watching for so long because he's still only 31 years old, which
Mhm.
is absolutely bonkers. His first UFC fight,
Angela Hill, too.
yeah, right. His first fight was June 28th, 2014. His first UFC fight, UFC Fight Night 43.
Mhm.
Absolutely
That's crazy.
bonkers. It's 12 years later, and dude's 31. Like, we've literally been watching him go through puberty and then now fight for money. It's absolutely bonkers. Ray Tesura, Louis Gurul, Angela Hill. Yep, that's a good fight. Loma Lukbumi and Jacqueline Amarin starting the night off, and that's gonna be a good. It's a good night of fights. It's definitely
Mhm.
themed for fighters on that side of the world, so definitely a lot of names that if you're not like a diehard, you might not really know, but it's a solid card, 100%.
Mhm.
So should be pretty good, and I will try to stay up and watch them. I actually, you ever heard, there's a place I've been trying to get it more into, and this is where Kenny steers us off the MMA topic. I've been recently trying to look into like different ranchers and beef and other stuff, like trying, with the cost of stuff at the supermarkets. I've been contemplating trying to get like a half side of beef or something like that. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, I found this company called Food and Meat Co-op. They're based out of Utah, and they work with different ranchers and other sort of stuff to get different meat products and stuff. And rather than have to drive out to Utah to pick them up, they do once a month. They do a drop in Vegas, and so there's a pickup tomorrow at like 10:15. I have to go pick up my meat, of different little meat packages and stuff. So
Mhm.
I was telling myself, I was like, stay up, watch the fights, Try to stay up, do whatever. I was like, but you cannot sleep through the delivery window because it's like a 15-minute window, and then they go to another location in town. I guess if I sleep through, I could just try to track them down, but it's like they're gonna drive back to Utah, and like, bro, you don't
Hmm.
want to have to go out to Utah. But yeah, no, I mean, I actually bought a little freezer, like one of those like um, freezers on the ground. What's the name of them? Chest freezers. So I could actually store, because I've been really trying to look into get some beef just because the cost at the stores is so expensive, and you don't want to trying to pay more
Yeah,
attention like what you eat and other stuff, and trying to support the ranchers and the farmers and stuff rather than just
I've
go.
heard about that before. What you're talking about, actually, right on Blue Diamond, where the Target is,
Yep.
it was a big white truck, and it just shows up. They open it up, people line up, and they just start. Laura had told me about this, and
Yeah.
when I heard it, I was like, "Come on, a car's going to show up. They're going to open up. You're going to buy meat from these dudes."
Yeah.
And she's like, "It's totally legit. It's awesome, and people do it." And yeah, I've heard about it. I heard it's
Yeah,
really
there's
good.
different ones. I mean, there's different companies that do it. There's like Butcher Blocks, which has had mixed reviews, but you can find different ranchers and other stuff that will either deliver it to your house or they'll do different drops at certain places. And it's actually legit. You can go through, granted, research them. Don't just go and go to the store and you happen to see a truck in a parking lot that's got meat in it. You might want to research it a little bit before just walking over and say, "Hey, do you got
Mhm.
anything extra?" And most of the stuff that
Yeah.
at least I know in my drop, I don't think they have anything else. You have to have your order. They're literally just dropping off and picking up the orders. I don't think somebody can go up to them and say, "Hey, do you have anything else in there?" You have to do it all
Mhm.
beforehand. But I would suggest doing your research to see where it's coming from, what grade and meat it is, how it was raised, how it was harvested, all the other kind of stuff, and read all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I have that in the mornings. But I am going to try to stay up and watch as many of the fights I can. But knowing that I at some point have to sleep because I do have to get up to drive across town to go to a random parking lot where I forget where it's at. It used to be a Sears, I think, and now it's something else, a flooring place. I'm just like,
Oh, is it the one on Flamingo?
it's like on the
That big parking lot?
north part of town. It's like flooring something. I can't
Oh,
remember the
okay.
name of it or something, but I want to say it's more the northwest side of town or whatever. There's a few places around town that they're having their drops, but I was just like, okay, I think this is the closest one or whatever. But yeah, it used to be like a
Oh,
Sears or something.
George used to work at Sears,
Did
and it
he
was
really?
absolute chaos. Yeah, he
What
worked
did
in
he
the
do
shoe
at Sears?
department. He worked at the shoe department, and but it was like every employee was his friend, like his high school buddy.
Yeah.
So it was just absolute chaos. Like you would go in the back and they would hide Nerf footballs in certain shoe boxes. So when you would go back there and try and find a pair of shoes, somebody would secretly pull out a box, which wouldn't look weird, but they'd pull a football out and they'd throw it at you. Like it was chaos. Like you'd walk back there and things are flying left and right, jokes, and I don't know how he never got fired.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that. See, learn something new every day about your MMA media personnel. George was a
Hmm.
Sears shoe salesman. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And Foot Locker. He did Foot Locker when he was
Did
in
he?
high school.
What's the
Yeah.
oddest job you ever had?
I worked a coffee. Oh man.
Or what's
Okay.
one of the jobs that you'd say it was like, or what's the worst job you've ever had? How about that one? What's the worst job you've ever had?
George and I used to own a hot dog cart, and it was the worst job because it just sucked being outside.
Yeah.
And it was really only like an hour and a half of madness, the lunch rush, because it was right in front of the courthouse.
Ooh,
And then
that's
the
a good
rest of the time you're
location.
just sitting around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably like the worst one, but it made good money. It was just terrible. Probably that.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
last long. I did door to door meat sales when I was like
What?
20 years old, maybe, if that, maybe 19 or 20 years old. Door to door, like had a little truck that had a little freezer in the back, and you would go and you would check out the truck, and then you would just drive around. I would drive around town or just drive on the road. You'd pay for your gas and you'd go wherever and you'd knock on the door. Hey, blah 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 blah. Like literally door to door sales. It was so hard. It was so impossible. I sucked at it. I think I sold one box of meat or something. And be my buddy,
Uh-huh.
we were at that point still kind of stoners, so there'd be times when we were just like, fuck it, we just get stoned and we'd take a steak out of one of the boxes, and then we'd make lunch, and then we
Oh
just go drop the
man.
shit back off or something. It sucked, but yeah. Door to door meat sales. Nowadays, if somebody showed up at my door and was trying to sell me meat, I'd be like, get the freak out of here. Like, what are you
When
doing?
somebody rings the doorbell, I'm almost borderline offended. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Like, if you
how
don't
dare
know
you
they're
come to my
coming,
house?
we grew up like that. Like,
Yeah,
people were
it was a
knocking all the
different
time.
time. It was a different time, that is for sure. But yeah, that hands down is probably the stupidest job I ever had. But I'm like, if you could do door to door meat sales, you could do anything. And I remember thinking, like, everybody's like, oh, one day you're gonna knock on a door and some hot woman's gonna ask you in. Yeah, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
You know, I have a friend who works for, just retired, but he worked for UPS, and he says he'd be shocked how many times that does actually happen.
Well, I was on the wrong company. I was doing meat sales. I should have just been a meat deliverer.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, Goes, I appreciate you hopping on.
no
And
problem.
helping fill the space, and making everybody just say, man, we don't need that JMO guy. He could just stay on there on the
Hmm.
TV doing things. No, I'm just kidding.
East Coast John Morgan all of a sudden.
No, I'm glad that he's out there doing his things, and he'll be back for next week. Same bat time, which whatever day that might be, since our days kind of get crazy. But hopefully we'll be back at the normal time. We'll do a Wednesday or Thursday, but John will be back. But I appreciate you hopping on here, Goes, and talking a little bit.
No
I know it
problem.
was more about what you're doing, but I just want to give something to the folks that we can keep the things, because we're going to keep that streak going. And I'm glad my voice didn't. I thought my voice was going to. It's still kind of off. It sounds weird in my ears. It doesn't sound like me, but I'm glad it didn't
Hmm.
kind of completely break and die while this was going on. So I'm glad that you're able here to be here to kind of help fill in and stuff. And I appreciate you saving the day again. And
No problem, guys. I love doing it.
I appreciate that. And everybody else, we'll be back to normal next week. And just want to say thank you for listening, and have a great day. Thanks for listening.